Welcome, Josh Wigley. Thanks for coming on with us this morning.
That's awesome, buddy. I'm just excited you have me and get to use some of that expensive equipment you got.
I don't know, man. We pieced it together pretty well. You know, it's still a quilt. We're still working on it. So I got Josh Wigley here. He is the general manager. Tell me if I get this right. General manager of the Trek Bike Store in Montrose, Colorado.
Daily, that's correct.
That's awesome. So Josh is a dear friend of mine. We've known each other for over 20 years. Josh has been in the biking business professionally for over a decade. He's been, in the biking business as, somebody riding bikes for over 15 years. And he's also an Ironman. He's done an Ironman. You've also done a lot of other races, right?
Yeah, I've done Ironman is something I did a long time ago. I was definitely younger. I've done halves. I think the coolest thing I did was probably non-bike related, which is hike the Appalachian Trail.
I remember you doing that. And that took you, what, 4 months? Is that six months? Yeah. Which you recorded and you Facebooked and Instagrammed and did that all the way up that trail, I remember.
There is, man. It's there's a lot of civilization, believe it or not. The only time you're max in the woods is probably in the main wilderness for like 10 days, which most people get through in like 7. But you're really not out of the town for 3 to 5 days max. And they have these sub economies built off of it for these little towns, and they thrive off of it. It's impressive to watch.
I think it's awesome because all those experiences that you've done just probably would make you an incredible GM for the Trek company in Montrose. Tell me about when did they open that store? How's it been going? What's your team look like?
Well, they've opened the store. The Trek took over in November. I come on in February 1st, like a little bit after I applied. They kind of moved me through. My team is actually a young mechanic that I worked with many moons ago in Atlanta. We had no idea that he was applying here. So he's my service manager, Lake. And then everybody else is retired, man. I have like a retired Motors police officer from LA. Like he'd seen some life. He's been in the trenches. He's happy singing all the time. He's living his second life. And then I got a retired private banker from Chase. He's full of shits at Christmas turkey. And then I have a retired grand piano salesperson, and her name is Jackie, and she fucking dominates.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just between you and I, you even more so.
This is a YouTube video, so it's not going to be between you and I.
Yeah. Hey, I see what you did there. So she just comes in and she crushes. She's very classically self-trained, by the power of focus, by referral only, the power of now. Like you can tell, like I hear some of the shit that comes out of her mouth. I'm like, damn, they paid some money for you to train.
That's
and
awesome.
You can just see it. Yeah.
Tell me about the city. I've never been there.
The city is something that is less to be desired at one time. So it's in between Grand Junction and Telluride. And the reason it has an airport because rich people want to fly to their house in Telluride. And Telluride is nestled in a canyon with crazy winds, which you can never fly into. So this is the closest place that they can legitimately fly into without crashing. So it stimulates. It's basically like the Atlanta airport if all the poor people were north in Atlanta, which we know is not the case. Everybody has to travel south to get to Telluride, so they start north and travel south, therefore pushing the money through. It's Ridgeway, Ouray. Ridgeway is actually where Ralph Lauren has a ranch. There's these crazy people on these mega ranches, and then Ouray is like the four-wheel drive capital of the United States. It's,
cool.
Like the Switzerland of the U.S. So it's now they're pumping this crazy economy money into this place. Because it is a hub. It's like fucking 2 weeks from everywhere, like an Oh Brother Where Art Thou? Like it's a fucking geographical oddity.
Yeah.
But so everybody's coming in, like we have Crested Butte, we have Grand Junction, we have Telluride, we have Ouray. Everybody comes in here to go there. So it literally is the hub. And they've just recognized that like in the last 5 years. And I don't know where the city planners were on that shit. But it seems like they finally got it together.
For sure. What did you fall in love with? When you started doing biking, because I knew you then. We hung out, and when you started doing biking, what made you fall in love with the sport?
The sport was hard, and I could do it by myself.
Mm.
It was challenging. I never, like when I was out there, I fucking hated it. Kind of like football, when you're doing 2-a-days and you just hate life. And
Yeah.
or you're doing court suicides, and you're just like, this is terrible. When you get done, you're like, I feel like a machine. And that gravitated me to it. And I had been building bikes since I was a kid, like trading and building bikes since I was a child. And they were never good bikes because I didn't grow up with any money. So the art of me getting a good bike is being a good bullshitter and talking somebody else into my shitty bike.
That's right. And you could fix them too, though.
Yeah, I can do everything now. So I fell in love, and also the reason I got into the industry so heavily is because I'm lazy sometimes, man. I felt like I never fucking went to work. Like it just didn't feel like a job. I got to talk about shit I knew a lot about, and it helped. I know the answers most of the time. It's a good feeling to be empowered with that knowledge.
What do you and you started out really riding in South Florida. So what's the difference in riding in South Florida to riding in Colorado?
Well, there's bikes are different, man. That people in South Florida love aerodynamic bikes. The Peloton's a lot more flashy in South Florida. I love the South Florida Peloton. I always have a joke. It's mostly Hispanic from South America, and at a certain time of year, it's French. And when the French arrive, the Spanish and the French don't get along at all. It's fucking crazy. They yell at each other in French and Spanish. It's kind of impressive. And but you're cruising, everybody's fit as shit. And but the funny thing about the Florida Peloton is your hills are bridges and wind. There's always bridges and there's always wind. So that's what they consider as like their training hills, so to speak. But the thing in South Florida, the Peloton, everybody smells good. All the Spanish dudes wear cologne. It's fucking crazy. So you're like, it's the best smelling Peloton you've ever been in. And when they pull their helmets off, they have their hair's perfect, dude. It's insane. I have no hair, but I just like the culture of South Florida. I miss South Florida.
So if you're getting beat in a race, you want to get beat by somebody that's Spanish because he smells good behind you.
He smells good behind you. Yeah. That's just the law of the land. And they always like that. Like they pull their helmets off, they smell good. Their hair's perfect.
It's already done.
Crazy. Yeah, they're ready to go, man, at all times.
Who's right now? Who is the best cycling team country out there?
That's a mixed. Enos just it starts with a G, like Grenadas, which was the old Sky Enos team. They have 2 or 3 GC riders, general classification riders that will possibly win the tour. But you have these mega young one-day cyclists like Vanderpoel and Walt Van Aert that are just crushing single-day races that are 23, 24 years old and just fucking destroying the best in the world.
Nice.
It looks mechanical almost. These kids are just young and they've trained. They nothing but train like you're talking about, like kind of Bella does. That's their focus. They train, they work, they go back to training, and that's just what they do.
So you at one point you were on a team and you were in the van riding on a I think it was a coast to coast race, or it was a long race anyways. Yeah. So what I would like for you to do is explain that and what that experience was for you. And then how do you translate all these awesome experiences that you've had into the person that wants to ride twice a week? And how do you help Trek sell bikes because of your experience?
That sounds like a Trek interview question. Have you been talking to Trek?
Yeah, they're on my speed. They're in my top 10 speed dial. Top 10 speed.
That's it. 10 speed. No pun intended. So the coast to coast we didn't get to be a part of because I went to South Florida to work for a bicycle manufacturer, which turned out to be a 4-day adventure with a crazy person. That's another story. So I did the Heart of the South 500-mile race, and this one dude was doing 500 miles as quickly as he could. Some of the world's the world's most known female was there, Sarah Cooper, for long distance racing, and she of course fucking destroyed. And then there's a guy who's a teacher in Hoover, Alabama. Um, his name is Brian Toon, and he actually placed top 3 in Ram not too long ago. But the guy rides 20,000 miles a year. That's a ridiculous number if you know anything. Like I ride 3 to 5 a year, and I ride a lot.
I know a little bit about miles, and 20,000 miles is
Morning, drive your car. Yeah.
like, I don't know, what is that, 8 times back and forth of America, right?
Yeah, not the 23. Yeah, something like that.
That's
so
crazy.
Dude rides a lot. It's just the bottom line. But anyways, we go through this. The dude that I was with finishes in 36 hours. He's fucking smoked. The weird thing he did is he tried to eat all natural food, like fucking watermelon and peanut butter, like natural. And like he got through this grueling race. When you're going at that distance, you can't fuel your body. You need something that's synthetic, and it works instantly. And the things that work instantly is super shitty food, like super high sugar, glucose. Like it just pounds through your system and drops in. And
so being more specific in that shitty food category, is it a Big Mac? Is it a McDonald's hamburger? Is that what it is?
Big Mac, McDonald's hamburger, candy bar,
Waffle House.
Waffle House. Anything. Well, not really Waffle House with that much greed. Maybe not a hamburger like that, but like 10 Snickers, a bag of Cheetos, something you're gonna get instant sugar from, because that just runs straight through your system. And that's why people get fat off of it, because it just starts storing itself. But so he goes through this and he eats normal food. We get back to there, they give him an award, and we get to the Cracker Barrel. He goes into a full seizure in the floor. We're in Birmingham, Alabama. This dude is fully convulsing. Luckily his wife was an MP,
and he had just ridden 500 miles though.
500 miles.
Okay.
Straight, 36 hours. Dude got off like 15 minutes plus. Dude was a badass. Still a badass.
Yep.
Felt his pulse. Like I barely felt like a rhythmic. Barely. That's the least amount of pulse I've ever felt in my life. And I thought he was gonna die. Anyways, he pulls through. He had just depleted his body so badly of nutrients, and he was 50 years old, that his body went into full shock. And so
that makes him more of a badass at 50 years old, though.
Yeah, Eric was a badass. I wish it would have happened at a different time of my life, and I would have got to spend more time with him. Instead, that I was drinking pretty heavily. But nonetheless, so to answer your question about from two people that walks in that just want to ride their bike down the trail, it's about finding out. It's about talking about them. Shut up and listen. It's two ears, one mouth, 80-20, whatever you want to hear. You got to listen, man. And it's making them the hero of the situation. People love to talk about themselves.
Of course.
And especially when you make them the hero. Oh, man, I bet that was cool when you climbed to the top of Mount Mountain. Tell me about that. And they put their Superman or Wonder Woman cape on. They're like, yeah, we were chopping brush. And they get into the story, this written novel about themselves. And then they start eliciting information. They're like, well, I really want to ride this trail. And then, maybe I need 2 bikes. And that's just because you open up their mind to talk about their aspirations. And people love to dream. And if we listen to what people have to say when they're dreaming in front of you, they'll tell you everything you want. And, because there's no budget in dreaming, right? So they're pulling off the shelf. And then
that's actually a really good saying. There's no budget in dreaming. Love it.
Yeah, I don't know, come off the cuff. It's probably written behind me here.
It is not. I'm going to say it, though. There's no budget in dreaming. Make a T-shirt.
All right. That one's on the house.
There you go. Thank you.
But I know if you do well, Jay, I do well. So it all works out.
So you're open. You're open for. Y'all been open for what? 2 months now there.
With me in the store, yeah.
So 2 months with you in the store, and You got your team there. You meet every morning. You do a little meeting. Talk about that. How are you? How are you inspiring your team?
So we do a morning huddle, and I watch a lot of inspirational stuff where I try to. I got a few favorites. Um, I really like Jesse Eitzler, which stuff I share with you. He's a local guy in Atlanta, owns part of the Hawks. I think it's just some of his philosophies are genius. It reminds me a lot of you, actually, Jay. Um, I didn't call you a genius though.
I'm not.
I think highly of you. But and it kind of falls in. It parlays into other videos, and I got on a video of affirmation. Like affirmation is actually one of the things that is the least party thing in any industry, in any world. And affirmation is somebody recognizing that you have excelled at something and calling that out in front of your peers. So acknowledgement makes people perform. So because they get acknowledged, they felt like they did something. They get rewarded, so to speak, verbally rewarded. People love that. Like even our animals love that. We all love that. So they go in and I asked the people one question. I ask this every week, every day, and I pick on people. And I was like, what happened in the last week? Well, because of you. And the answers, you can see people get choked up. And I didn't really believe that when I watched this, but like we do a lot of stuff for the community, a lot of donation stuff. And we have a member of our team, which Paul, he was a world touring fly fishing guide, like some of the most extreme fly fishing you've ever heard. And he did well enough where he couldn't retire, come home, have a child late in his life, and work a part-time job. So now he does that. He tells us about these, face-to-face grizzly stories, all this crazy shit. But in his heart of hearts, he's the biggest giver I've ever met. And like he's facilitated us these donations, these donation channels. And he is a native to the area, so him and his wife are. So he is naturally in the beginning ingrained in this community. So we've been giving these bikes to these little kids that are crying, and I got epic pictures of Paul and these little kids. Some of them may be family members, but it doesn't matter. Like these kids getting this prize, but validating that in a conversation really lights people up. Like it made Paul cry last week. And the dudes stand within boop range of a grizzly before. So if you can scare a bad man like that, or make him weep, then obviously something's either going really wrong or really right. That's what I do for validation. And we got through the day, and like daily meetings, as shitty as I thought they were, are fucking important.
They're incredible.
It will blow you away what somebody forgets every night. You're like, Lydia, we just talked about this.
That's right.
And that's on you as a good leader, not to, bury somebody. We just talked about this. This takes understanding. People have a different life. And I got a mandatory meeting with everybody on Tuesday. Because we are doing really well, but one of our metrics is really far behind. I mean, it's middle of the pack, but I don't like to be in the middle of the pack. And we have a small store. We don't need to be on the radar more than the other stores that do $20,000 a day. So I feel like it's an area we can improve. We're going to talk about it and see what's going on. What am I, it's possibly something I'm missing. And it's possibly something that I've made, I wouldn't say too comfortable because I like people to be comfortable, but we'll see.
What's next? How can the community, our community, help you out or help Trek out? What's your goals? The rest of the year goals, and how can we get a hold of you if we have any questions?
Well, of course you have my private number, but Trek Montrose on Google.com. Google that shit. And then community, like our community outreach is currently, we can always deal with more, but is really as much as we can physically handle right now. We're operating at max capacity. I'm bringing somebody on. So if anybody that's a good salesperson wants to come live on the Western Slope and have a good life like me in Colorado,
you'll have more calls. Like, I'd want to move out there right now. You got room in your trailer for me? Your RV?
Yeah. Well, actually, sadly, I do. But I live in 87 square livable feet. You don't want to live.
Well, look, thank you so much for your time, Josh. I look forward to doing a follow-up with you. And, good luck. out there. And you know, I want to talk to some more Trek managers, and we're gonna Trek GMs, and we're gonna get this thing rolling.
We'll put this in the right hands. We'll see if we can't help out.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Love you, pal. Be good.
Bye.